Hi guys, and welcome to a battle between the Lizardmen, led by myself, up against Slow Jira and the sneaky, conniving Skaven. This battle is going to take place on the Central Chaos Waste, so let's get into this and get cracking. So, for my army, I've gone quite experimental, and I'll explain it in a second. So, for the front line, we do have cheap and cheerful skink cohorts. Now, these guys are chevroned up fairly heftily here, so most of them on 3 bronze chevrons, 1 on silver, I believe. Now, in the back, this is where the real punch of the army comes in. We have 5 salamander hunting packs. I love a good flaming doggo, and there's just never enough salamanders in an army. So we've gone for 5 units there, 1 over on this right-hand flank slightly here. So the reason I've gone for a build like this, if you've seen my last video, you'll see Scourge of the West going up against Falcon, and Falcon brought a fairly similar build trying out of Razordons, and the whole time I was watching I was thinking, I feel like this could work much better with Salamanders, so we've tried it out and just done a little bit of a test run. We do have 2 big dinos as well to add a bit of much needed punch to our fairly flimsy front line. So we have brought the Thunderous one, the regiment-renowned Ancient Stegodon, and also Kroq-Gar up on top of the mighty Grimlock, and of course we've brought all his buffs, including Hands of the Gods, which is just so powerful. We also have a little cheeky skink priest here of beasts with the Manticore summon and Flock of Doom, and that is going to sum it up for my army. So quite simple tactics, obviously. Rush in with the skinks to hold the enemy back, and then try and do some serious damage with the salamanders, and we have a little bit of an added punch over here where needed. So let's have a little look at Slow Jira's army. So, in the front line, he's gone nice, cheap and cheerful with Skaven slaves, and also a couple of Skaven slave slingers. Now, you often see this with Skaven, really cheap and kind of expendable front line that you send forward just to bulk up the enemy and kind of hold them up for as long as possible. In his secondary line, he does have clan rats, some with shields. I believe the ones on the flanks have shields, just for a little bit added stability when these guys inevitably do fall back. In the central line, he also has the regiment-renowned rattling gunners, the Teeth Breakers. Now, if these guys can get in range and lay down some fire, they can do some serious work. The only problem is actually it's often hard to get good arcs of fire of them, as they do struggle kind of dipping shots over top of people. They're very kind of direct, a lot like guns in general, but then again they can just shoot through the Skaven slaves. Skaven do love a little bit of friendly fire. Looks like they're going to be led by a plague priest here, who, let's see what he has brought. Looks like just Vermintide for the most part, and we've also gone for 2 Hell Pit Abominations. Look at these disgusting bear moths of Skaven technology and monstrous creatures kind of combined here. Now these are really nice picks up against Lizardmen, as most Lizardmen players won't bring kind of the big dinosaurs in this matchup, and if they do, these guys can go toe-to-toe fairly effectively, but they're also fantastic at breaking down those Saurus heavy builds you often see in this matchup. Then the back, we have 2 units of Warp Grinders for the Skaven as well. Really cool unit with the new DLC. They come with 2 really good abilities, Warp Quake, which slows down the opponent and does damage, and Seismic Snare, that's the real important one, which actually pins people in place, so it'll allow them to do some maybe alpha strikes with the Hell Pit Abominations when they've been pinned in place by these guys. For his leadership, he does have a Eshin Sorcerer, who I think is incredibly powerful, and one of the most powerful things brought in with the latest DLC for Skaven. He's just got Concealment Bombs, Black Whirlwind, and Warp Star. Also, Toxic Rain is the passive ability there. We also have Deathmaster Snickage up against us, the sneaky leader of Clan Eshin. Actually, I don't believe he's the leader, I think he's just the head assassin. I'm not sure if anyone actually knows who the leader is, he's kind of cloaked in shadows. We do have the Deathmaster Sigil on him, but no Whirling Weeping Blades. Now in the back, we also have a Itic Zap Zap cannon up against us, which is being protected by some Clan Rat Spearmen. So overall, I really like this army. What often happens in this matchup is, or used to happen, Lizardmen being big dinosaurs looking to tear out the little Skaven. Skaven go heavy in loads of Jezzails, cannons, and all that sort of stuff. So the meta kind of switched where there'd be this massive Skink and Saurus build armies. So in retaliation, Skaven tend to go for these big Hell Pit Abominations. So we'll see how this plays out. So we're advancing as quick as possible, knowing that we do not have the range advantage. Salamanders get a little bit eager there and are running past their skink brethren. Now, we've been a little bit delayed with our big boys circling around the side here, just to try and limit the amount of damage we're going to take from Itic Zap Zap Cannon. Now, a small mistake here on my half. I was trying to get everyone on the left to target this left Hell Pit, and everyone on the right to target this right one. But it's been a bit of crisscross, so we're going to have to do a quick bit of organisation, pull these guys back, and realign ourselves before we start firing. But we do summon a Manticore up in from the sky by the Beastcaster, who's going to be hopping on top of Itik Zap Zap, trying to shut it down. As we can see, Hell Pit Abomination bombing forwards, trying to get on top of my poor Salamanders, who are terribly out of position, but they're all going to be falling back now, and we're starting to unleash those fiery bombardments on the Hell Pit Abomination, who does have regeneration, and therefore is weak to fire. So, Ferroman's Core flying in the back, as you can see in the distance. Kroq-Gar trying to be sneaky and get round behind, but he's been scared off by some Warp Grinders and this little hero Claw. So we're going to bring him back a little bit. And one Hell Pit Abomination has forced its way into the back lines. Now what we're doing here is standing and fighting because the rest of the Salamanders are unengaged. So we're simply going to turn around and absolutely blitz this guy in a crossfire. And of course, all that fire damage does some huge work. Now, really nice play here by Slowjura, getting some Clan Rat summons up to try and put pressure on the Salamanders, but we're simply going to fall back. We do have the speed advantage. Now, over on the right-hand flank, the other Hell Pit has bombed itself into the Thunderous One, and there is a mighty carnage duel going down here. Unfortunately, the Thunderous One does have an animation where it turns around and tries flicking with its tail, which looks very cool, but unfortunately opens yourself up to some rear attacks, which of course break through that melee defense a little bit quicker. So we're going to be trying to bring Kroq-Gar right back round here, avoiding this little death blob we don't want to get involved with, to assist in taking down this Hell Pit Abomination. Now, if we have a quick overarching view of the battlefield, Skinks have popped in, and they're just slowly grinding their way through Skaven. Looks like we've managed to push through the central pocket here, and we might be able to get onto some more of these juicy targets. In the background, the Ferroman's Core did manage to destroy 2 of the cannons of Itik Zap Zap, which is super lucky for me and very effective there. He's slowly being dragged down, and he will disappear fairly shortly. So let's get back to the battle. So it looks like the Hell Pit Abomination did try and get back to friendly lines, but we're not going to let him escape. We're just blitzing him down there, and he down the mighty beast goes. Looks like he did actually maybe get a little bit of a hill there, but it's a little too late, and there's no way he's going to be getting out of this little conclave of fire. Over on the right-hand flank, the Hell Pit Abomination did get pinged by a Hand of the Gods by the almighty Kroq-Gar over here as well, swinging the Thunderous One engagement in the favour of myself. We did get pinned down slightly over here though, and the Rattling Gun's got off some really good volleys, doing some huge damage, so I'm just going to be sneaking away, popping all my buffs where possible to increase speed and resistance, and try and escape Deathmaster Snickage, and really come over here and assist with this Hell Pit Abomination. They've managed to reorganise our back line with those summoned Clan Rats disappearing, and firing all those shots in to ensure we can finish off this big nasty boy right here. And Kroq-Gar coming in, this should be a fairly swift engagement. So I do notice Snickage is nipping at my heels, and he gets flung back there by a mighty lightning strike coming down from the Thunderous One. So we're just going to turn around and start bullying him. So Deathmaster Snickage, fantastic duelist, but he is no monster hunter, and someone like Kroq-Gar on top of Grimlock here is going to eat him for breakfast all day, but we are taking rear attacks the entire time. Now, the rest of the battlefield, the Skinks are just grinding out, nothing too interesting going over here. We are slowly pushing back the Skaven because, of course, we are chevroned up. And for the most part, our Salamander backline is relatively healthy, constantly staying on the move and outpacing these units, which are going to disappear as they are summons. So we summon another Manticore who does pop on top of the Eshin Sorcerer, trying to scare him off, whilst the Thunderous One is now pushing into the back line, looking to hunt down those pesky Teethbreakers who have done a lot of damage. Over in the distance, we do have Kroq-Gar finally scaring off the mighty Deathmaster Snickage, and we're just going to continue to chase him for now and try and hunt him down as quickly as possible. So we're taking the Skink Priest over here, not the greatest melee combatant, but we're going to try and hold up these Clan Rats till their summon runs out. It looks like they all have just gone down. And now all the big nasty monsters are dealt with, we're just going to focus fire down units, kind of key targets we want destroyed. So we're taking down these Warp Grinders, and you see how quickly that unit just disappears. Whilst the Thunderous One is now assisting the Skinks in the front line, hunting down the Zap Zap Cannon crew and trying to pick off elite targets. So Ferroman's Core going after the Eshin Sorcerer, and boom in the distance. Kroq-Gar got very tired of having to chase the sneaky and elusive Deathmaster Snickage, so we blast him with a Hand of the Gods in the back of their head and take him down like the cowardly rat he is. So Skinks across the board doing a decent job up against Clan Rats. We have lost quite a few Skinks, and some units are in fact being chased off. A really nice kind of late game play, trying to get the balance of power back into his favour, chasing off units where he can, picking and winning the fights where possible. So we're trying to obliterate the Plague Priest, but of course Salamander's not the best at taking down individuals, not the most accurate boys, so Kroq-Gar is going to be running over to try and take them out, whilst Skink cohorts attempt to drag down the Warp Grinders. Over in the distance here we have the Thunderous One trying to chase off this huge blob of Skaven troops, and whenever we see a unit rally, we just pop on that unit and trying to force it off to ensure it doesn't come back. So Warp Grinders fighting to the death over here. Looks like we're popping down some of their debuffs, and Clan Rats finally getting the upper hand over Skink cohorts, but it's a little too late. Kroq-Gar running in and just beating snot, unfortunately, for this little Plague Priest out of him, as the Salamanders do move up and start to unload fire onto these grinder teams. But overall, just about a victory there, a Pyrrhic victory, and let's go to the end stats. So this was a very experimental build and a super fun match to play. I really had no idea how it was going to go. Now, I did get incredibly lucky. If, as I spoke about at the start of the video, if Soja had bought a much more kind of like an original Skaven build you would take against Lizardmen with all those heavy guns and stuff, I could have been in massive trouble, as the big guns could have shot my big dinosaurs and also unloaded hell into the Salamanders, who are not that tanky. Yes, they're very fast and quite elusive in that aspect, however, they're, you know, you shoot them with just crossbowmen, for example, with the Empire, these guys go down very quickly, and the Skaven have so many good tools to deal with that. But I paid the gamble, rolled those dice, and I got very lucky that it was a Hell Pit Abomination build, and of course, Salamanders fantastic at taking those guys down. Now, I'd like to make one point quickly before I break down the armies fully. This is not a tournament legal build. I double checked afterwards, and you can only have 4 units of Salamander hunting packs. So what you'd have to do, if you did want to take this into a tournament, would take out 1 Salamander hunting pack and maybe add in the cohort of Sotek or something. I'm not saying this is necessarily a fantastic build. I think it takes a lot of luck on what your opponent brings. But, you know, sometimes if you're against a very talented opponent, which of course Slowjira is, sometimes you need to roll those dice and pray you get a little bit lucky. But overall, Skinks performed very well, better than I expected actually, but they were up against Skaven slaves and just clan rats for the most part, but some pretty big kills across the board for them. Kroq-Gar may have only got 1 kill, but it was Deathmaster Snickich, and he did some huge damage with the Hand of the Gods. And Thunderous One just pushing through, driving off the enemy, and after we annihilated the threat of the Hell Pit Abominations, as you can see, unfortunately didn't get too much work done. Once we managed to take those guys out, it was simply a matter of getting the big dinosaurs in there and scaring off the rest of the Skaven. But overall, super fun battle. I hope to face Slowjira on ladder again sometime soon. If you guys did enjoy, please do leave a big old thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't. We do multiplayer battles, campaigns, tournaments, King of the Hill, where just subscribers can join in and play all sorts of good stuff. And if you do want to support the channel in any other way, I do have a Patreon just down below. But enough of me rambling. Until next time, guys, stay awesome. Peace.